Right then, hello there, good evening, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good whatever it is, wherever you happen to be. My name is Paul, and if you've followed my channel for a while, you've probably seen my daily teasers going past. Every morning, UK time, 10:30, 9 o'clock, that sort of time in the morning. And you possibly thought, yeah, I'll ignore them because quizzes aren't my thing. If you change your mind, let me know, give them a look, see what you think. On the other hand, I've also been known to watch movies. I watched William Hurt's Altered States just recently. Excuse me a minute. And I've got to admit, it was an interesting watch. Especially if you think that William Hurt at that point looked like a young Steve Jobs. Strange but true. At any rate, I watch films. I also watch TV shows. Just recently I finished watching both Penny Dreadful, City of Angels and The Mandalorian, and they're both thoroughly enjoyable. Tonight, on the other hand, I've watched, or started watching, the one-off series that everybody's been making a fuss about and handing awards to. They've been making a fuss about the HBO series Watchmen, the spin-off from the graphic novel and film. I've watched the first episode tonight, and I've got to admit I'm rather impressed. Let me try and tell you about it, though. Episode 1, It's Summer and We're Running Out of Ice, opens at the movies in 1921, watching a little boy called Will watching an adventure serial at his local cinema in Tulsa, just as the Tulsa race riots start. And just in time for his parents to just about make sure he gets out of town. The scene that shifts forward in time to an alternative 2019, some 40 odd years after the original graphic novel. It shifts forward to show us an unarmed traffic cop, an Officer Sutton, played by Charles Bryce, making a routine traffic stop of an individual he finds deeply suspicious and who he finds to be extremely armed. He ends up shot. As a result, Police Chief Judge Crawford, Don Johnson, starts to organise investigations into the shooting. I've just had a look at my script there and it says infestations. Amazing what you can do if you type in bad. At any rate, he sets up investigations to dig into the shooting. One he believes is the responsibility of a white supremacist group called the 7th Cavalry. Cavalry with a K. That should tell you who they're an offspring of. And anyway, he's helped by Officer Angela Abar, who's also called Sister Knight, and who's played by Regina King. She manages to bring in another member of the cavalry, finds out where their base is, and lead the police raid. It's an almost successful raid. They find interesting evidence that the cavalry are trying to build explosives out of a certain type of old watch battery. But the 2 members of the cavalry they take commit suicide with cyanide pills. That's something that I think it's called tampering with evidence, but don't quote me there. At any rate, just to try and sum up for you. Was I impressed with The Mandalorian and with Penny Dreadful, City of Angels? I still have to say, I think City of Angels getting cancelled was an absolute bloody disgrace, but was I impressed with them? Yes, I was. Nathan Lane in Penny Dreadful, City of Angels was an utter star, and The Mandalorian was a very good example of how to make a 40-minute drama. It's brief and to the point and very, very brisk. It's beautifully done in that sense. They are both very good series. They are both very good series and very well worth watching, and I enjoyed them both. Tonight I wanted to sit down with something new-ish to me. I wanted to see something I'd not seen before, but that had a familiar feel to it. Watchmen was what I decided on because it had a familiar enough background. I've seen the original film. I read the original graphic novel many years ago and enjoyed both, and loved the detailing in it. So I knew the backdrop of it, the fact that Rorschach's leanings were slightly right of centre. Let's put it that way. I knew Adrian Veidt, who, according to IMDb, is being played by Jeremy Irons. I guessed that without having to look it up, actually, to be honest with you. It seemed obvious. But at any rate, I knew the backdrop. I knew the setting. I knew that in this world, superheroes existed. So I knew what I was getting into. And I thoroughly enjoyed what I saw on screen. The backdrop, they've expanded it so that you see superheroes are now no longer illegal as they were in the comic book. They're now part of the police force. The Tulsa police are a mixed bag of masked uniform officers and superheroic detectives. Let me have a look at her name. The Regina King character is the centerpiece of it. She's the heart and soul of the episode. She's a black American cop. And even now I'm thinking to myself, I shouldn't really have to say that, but she's a black American. She's an American copper. But she's the heart and soul of this episode tonight. She's a good cop that's doing her job. She gets on well with her white boss. And it seems they're in a world where they get on fine because they're in the police. That gives them a common thread. Actually, I'm thinking of Sir Terry Pratchett's Discworld series here. His Night Watch. The boss of the Night Watch, Sam Vimes, always says, once you join up, doesn't matter what colour you are, whether you're a dwarf, a troll, or a human, or whatever, once you're wearing a uniform, you're a cop. Tulsa Police in this episode of this series seem to embody that. Once you've got the uniform and the mask on, you're a cop. Doesn't matter what you are, what colour you are, you're a cop if you've got the badge. So it's quite good to see that. It's a good little way they play it. I have to admit, do I sound enthusiastic about this? Too damn right I do. It's beautifully done. It seems to have more teeth than any other series I've seen recently. I know it's only got one series at the moment, so whether or not they'll have others, I don't know. I'd hope so, but let's put it this way. I'm going to try and catch episode 2 next Tuesday. You know, keep them a week apart, keep developing it. But I'm going to watch that next episode. I hope you'd like to join me and follow along. Let me know what you think. Leave me a comment underneath. Let me know what you think and come back next week. Let's see how it goes. Just as a last thought, just as a last thing, I'm aware I've mentioned race a couple of times in this video. Kind of inevitably, given some of the subjects in Watchmen, it does deal with race. I personally don't think, at least I hope I'm not, in any way biased against black people. If I've caused offence and trod on your toes, please tell me. I'd like to apologise in person. But I'm very aware that it is a sensitive subject and that all of us have to be careful to make sure equality and talent is equally put on a par. Just because I'm white and you're possibly black, or I'm Indian and you're Vietnamese, doesn't make any one of us better or worse than the other. Better or worse than the other. We all deserve chances, and the colour of our skin shouldn't be a disadvantage. Thank you for listening. I'll see you in next week's episode.